Michelle Obama says America needs to grow up before a woman can be president.
As we saw in this past election, sadly, we ain't ready. That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running, because you all are lying. You're not ready for a woman. You are not. So don't waste my time. You know, we got a lot of growing up to do. And there's still, sadly, a lot of men who do not feel like they can be led by a woman, and we saw it.
Oh, I love this. It's like, you think you can have me? I am too good for you, America. It's like, stop it. The population of the United States is women. 50.4%. Slender, but she's insulting women, I guess.
I just hope that one day we can stop disappointing Michelle and Barack Obama. We've been such a disappointment to them for so long. I was sad to hear this because every single day of that 107-day campaign, I looked for something to compliment. I was looking for a way to go, wow, Kamala Harris, dang, that was a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Well said, amazing, wow, interesting policy, wow. Never once did I get the opportunity on the merits to do that. And I feel like it's insulting. Give us someone to root for.
Yeah.
Give us somebody who isn't on the wrong side of every issue. And that wasn't just for men. I mean, she was wrong side of the border, on crime, on education, and certainly on Biden's unpopularity. She couldn't even say one thing about how she would be different from Biden. And let me give you another example. Abigail Spanberger, sorry, I'm bringing it up again. This is a person who was, how many, 14 points ahead in the polls when Jay Jones' text came out that he wanted to murder the opposition leader. She couldn't even distance herself from him. She didn't have the wherewithal and the strength and the courage and the bravery to say, not in our party, out. She still would have won.
Yeah.
But she was not able to do that. You have to look at somebody like the new prime minister of Japan and say, wow, now that woman is impressive. She is tough. The Chinese just said that they would bash her head against the Great Wall of China for supporting Taiwan. And she's didn't even blink. Like, give America, men and women, someone to root for, regardless of gender.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's quite a generalization, Harold, to say that America is not ready. We're ready. I mean, like, God, guys can marry each other. I mean, that's some serious stuff. I mean, if we could do that, surely a woman could be president. I mean, they're both crazy ideas. Don't get me wrong.
No, I think I was disappointed, and I'm a big fan of Michelle Obama. I hope at some point, I thought she should have run maybe 4 years ago, but I do think Dana's right. I don't know. I don't think America should feel sorry for the Obamas by any stretch of the imagination. Two, when President Obama was elected president, then a senator, there was a lot he faced, being the first African American. He found a way to overcome it and not only win, but to win 2 times. I do think it's important to note that Abigail Spanberger is the first woman to be elected governor of Virginia. Mikey Sherrill is the second woman in New Jersey behind Christine Todd Whitman. And I think it's important to note that women literally just got the right to vote 100 years ago. We're going to celebrate 250 years of the country. It was 105 years ago, to be exact, the 21st, the amendment was passed. But it is interesting. But I don't think that's the way to do it. And Michelle
We shouldn't
Obama's
have given him the right to vote.
Michelle Obama.
A lot of people are saying
what I'm saying about Michelle.
Harold, you were
first
so
lady.
brave.
The first lady is so impressive in so many fronts, and I hope if when she gets an opportunity, the next book outing, because I know she's promoting a book, that she clarifies that a bit, because.
Oh, she meant every word.
Well, I hope. Well, I give people the benefit.
Do you think Harold was being too harsh, saying women shouldn't have had the right to vote? No.
You were saying in the green room it was the biggest mistake this country's ever made.
Yeah.
We've made a lot of mistakes.
We've made a lot, but everything went downhill 100 years ago. Yeah.
I think Michelle's running. You know, women,
You always say that.
when a woman says something that she's doing, she's not doing it. So, like, she's just wishy-washy. She just can't figure it out. You guys know how they are. But after the podcast dropped, there's no way she could win, because everybody knows she's not this sweet, sensitive, beautiful woman that the media made her out to be when she was in the White House. She's a whiner. She complains about being in the White House. She complains about her husband. She didn't even go to Jimmy Carter's funeral. And what are you talking about she could win? What are Michelle Obama's positions on the East Asian U.S. policy? What are her tax positions? What does she think about the border? What does she think about the carried interest loophole? I mean, she doesn't know anything about anything. Let's be honest. France has never had a female president. Is France not evolved? A majority of countries in the world have never had a female president. That's okay, all right? I don't like how Michelle Obama and a lot of these feminists feel like they're competing against men. We're not competing against women. They always think they're competing against us. We love you guys. We think you're beautiful. And we want to work together. It's not a competition.
Look, I mean, I do think women face challenges who run for president that men do not face. There are extra challenges, but to suggest that it's a sexist reason we haven't had one, no. We were just given two women who were bad choices. Hillary Clinton had a huge trust deficit. Kamala Harris had a huge competency problem. But give America a Margaret Thatcher, and I think you will see a woman get elected. The problem has been the quality of the candidates, not the gender of the candidates.
I'm still not ready to vote for a woman president.
There's the footnote for Michelle
Thank
Obama.
you, Jesse, for undermining everything you just said. All right.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.